awesome and amazing day, victorious people. Welcome to VIP with Nikki B, where we see the victory in people, but most importantly, we want you to see the victory in yourself. And today we are on location at Wynners Auto Plus, and I'm super excited and so proud. Like, this one is a little bit different, you all, because this is my little brother, but he's not my little brother anymore. This is the owner of Wynners Auto, Greg Wynn. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right, so this is Wynners Auto Plus, right?
Right.
What is the plus? I mean, I know we got the auto part, so that's cars, right? What is the plus part?
So when I created the LLC for the business, I was thinking like, because it was a car lot when I started. So I'm like, man, you know what? I don't want people just to be tied to just buying cars. So I put the plus on there, like, you know what? We do a whole bunch of different stuff like window tint. We do wraps. We do a lot more stuff than just sell cars. We rent cars. So the plus really has a meaning to it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. And so when you say created and when you started this, what was the motivation behind that? Did you see anyone else with a car shop, or what was the vision and what was the motivation?
From the beginning, I kind of like, I had fell in like a rough times and I had a baby. So I was like, you know what? I need to figure out what I can do in life to make more money, because I kept having like financial issues. Okay. So I'm like, you know what? Having this job ain't really doing it. So I'm like, right. So I started thinking like, you know, I had kind of motivation from like an older cousin. I always say like, I always tell people the same thing. Beyond Wynn, my older cousin. So he kind of like would talk to me at like family functions, and like he would tell me like, man, I see something in you that you might don't see in yourself. And just like little small stuff like that will like trigger me, and I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I can be bigger, or maybe I can do better. And like, he would just always hammer me. Hey, look, I know you got that job. They probably keep giving you raises. You probably feeling good in there. You probably feel like, man, this is amazing. You might be making $15, then they give you 17, then 20. And then he would just like break it down to me. Then I would just kept thinking about all the stuff he was telling me. And I'm like, you know what? I can be bigger. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, so it was that plus having the financial issues. I'm like, you know what? Let me just, you know, try something different. So one day I was, you know, I had them on my mind when I actually went in and worked that day and was like, you know what? I'm going to quit this thing. Like, I had started like buying cars, and I would take cars with me to work. So I would park them in a parking lot. And put for sale signs on them inside the parking lot at my job. So I would, you know, I would buy them for $2,000, let's say, and then put them online for like $3,500. Yeah. So I'm like, cool, I did that. Probably would sell a car in 2 days. Did it again, sell a car in 2 days. I'm like, man, I'm making way more money selling cars than I am from my job.
9 to 5.
Yeah, that profit off of one car would be more than I made in a whole month of working. So me still thinking about all the stuff that my cousin was telling me, like, you know, you can do better, you can be bigger. It was like coming and, you know, actually happening. And then he gave me a couple books to read, so that kind of helped me too.
Okay, so let me pause you right there. What books were those? Because that's so important. You know, when you have someone that is, you know, in your circle, or just that one person that is actually seeing something in you that you don't see in yourself, but then they start sharing knowledge with you and you actually do it, because not everyone is going to do it, right?
No,
so
everybody.
What books were those?
Actually, it was one book and it kind of led to other books.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, man. Book. Yes. That's Rich a phenomenal book. Absolutely. I've read that book also.
And then I think it was like,
to it.
It was like in the intro, or maybe in the first chapter, it was something was said about, it was, what was it? It was, never tell yourself, I can't afford something. Always say, how can I afford something? And so that right there was like a life-changing, like, just line in my life. Like, you know what? How can I afford something? Once you tell yourself, how can I? Instead of saying like, I can't. Right. When you say, how can I? It make your brain start working. So if you say I can't, the brain shuts down and says, all right, we can't do it, it's done. But if you say, how can I?
Absolutely.
It kind of like, you know what I mean? It kind of make you like, all right, so what do I do? If I can do it, how do I do it? And that kind of like made me like, well, all right, if I take these cars and I sell them, if I could do 3 of these a month or 2 a month and make $1,500 each, that's 3,000. I don't make 3,000 working, and I'm working hard. I'm doing 12-hour days and stuff like that. So, and that kind of changed me, and I kept doing it. And then one day I went into work, and my phone, it was like blowing up. I'm like, man, I got all these people calling me for these cars. I probably got 3 or 4 cars at the time now online for sale. And I'm just in there, and like my manager or something was like saying something like, dude, why you keep looking at your phone or something? I'm like, man, that right. I knew. I was like, you know what? I got potential to make 2,000-3,000 right now if I wasn't here. So maybe this thing is in my way. Let me get rid of this job, man. I walked into work that day. I knew when I left that day that it was over with.
So you just left? No call?
No. I would be in trouble a lot at work. So they was already trying to kind of fire me because it was like I had that energy like, I don't need y'all. Like, I was already making thousands of dollars outside of here. And that, like, I ain't bragging, but I was making more than like my store manager because I was making an extra 1,000 here, 1,500 here, 2,000 here every month or every week for real. So it was like,
listen, that's exactly right there. That mindset right there, when you're walking in your purpose, right? And when you're victorious and you know exactly what your calling is or your purpose is or your passion is, and you walk in that, you have I don't want to say a measly, but when you have a 9 to 5, it's like, this isn't the way. And so that's just so important to me because you've always had that mindset where you can do this, you can do this, I can learn how to do it. From a little boy, you've always been that way, right? No matter how big someone was, because we would always play basketball in the backyard. No matter how big someone was, he was always taking someone up head to head. So I've always loved that about you. So we were talking about auto and the cars and things like that. You said that you all do tent as well, right?
Yeah.
So I know you have a lot of cars here, and I know that you were saying that you were super busy this morning with a lot of tent appointments. So how did you learn that? Did you learn that did you go to class? Did you go somewhere, take a course?
So pretty much how I got into the tent, it was like, it was back to my cousin again. I don't want to keep bringing him up, but I'm just being honest. I got to be transparent.
That's your inspiration.
It really is. No, it's just like he always he said a lot of stuff that made sense through my life. So what happened with tent was, this was after a while. I was already selling cars. I had started doing real good with selling cars, like making crazy money, like money that I never thought I'd make, ever. So I was like, I wanted a brand new Range Rover. It was years ago. I'm like, man, I want this brand new Range Rover. And then back to how can I afford it? So I called my cousin, and I was like, man, look, I want this Range Rover, and I think it's irresponsible right now for me to get it, even though I'm making probably $25,000 a month right now at this time, right? So I'm like, you know what? But I still feel a little irresponsible making a $2,000, payment on this car right here. I'm like, something telling me, no. And then it was like, well, think about it like this. What don't you do at your job right now? And add something to it to cover that payment to where now that extra payment is nothing. It's like life is still the same. Nothing changes. And I'm like, damn. 3 seconds later, after I got off the phone, I'm like, well, I don't do buy her, pay her. So I can do $250 a month. I can get 8 people to pay me $250 a month, right? To cover that. So that would be $2,000 a month, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. I could do that. Or at the time I was buying maybe 10 to 20, probably about 20 cars a month. 15, 20 cars a month. And I was paying the guy $100 a car to do window tint for me. So I'm like, well, all right, I got 20 cars coming a month, $100 I'm paying him. That's $2,000 right there a month. I'm like, I can learn how to do tint myself and cover that payment for this Range Rover, I'm like, and my life would still be the same. Or I could add the pay her payments to it. So I'm like, you know what? I did both. I was just like, get it, yeah. And I end up finding a school in what was it, Maryland, and went out, did the class, came back, and I've been saving that money ever since. And then I got real good at window tint, so I started making more money off window tint than I was making on selling cars. And I was like, man, I was like, this is crazy.
Like the whole purpose was selling cars, and you're like, man, this is great money. Yeah. But then you learned a new skill.
Just like off of cars, just being in that lane.
That growth mindset, right? And you learned a new skill, and you didn't care where it was. Right. Because you know you wanted to do it. And then how can I, right? So you actually went to Maryland. You took the course. How long was the course?
It was like 3 days. It was through a big company, so they kind of like compacted everything. 3M. I was trained by 3M, so it was like, they kind of compacted everything into 3 days, and we had to get a hotel and all that stuff. But it was cool.
But it was definitely worth it. It was an investment, right? Mm-hmm. And
now I do training.
Exactly, I love that. Yeah. And that's perfect segue, because I wanted to know, do you offer any classes and things like that? And how often do you all do that? Like, and I think that's so dope to me.
Right. So, all right. So, because we're sticking in tent right now about how we did the tent. So, pretty much with window tent, after I came back from the class, and I kind of, months after doing it, probably a year after doing it, I was like, man, you know what? It's not even a lot of people doing window tint, man. It's like, this is like a hidden secret in the auto field. Like, I need to probably try to like expand it. Like, I end up getting a shop to where we was doing tent, and I was kind of in the area with like another tent shop, like 3 buildings down. And I'm not really knocking the tent shop, but they had kind of like bad reviews. Okay. So it was like, I got a lot of business just from them doing bad business.
So you
a lot of their clients would be like, oh, like leave out of the parking lot and look around and be like, oh, it says window tint right here. So they would come to me, and like I built up a big clientele off of tent based off of him having bad customers. So like it built me up kind of quick, and then once I noticed, I was like, all right, cool. I started getting booked up. I'm doing like 10, 12 cars a day, $200 a car. So I'm looking like, man, this is like, I'm making $1,500, $2,000 a day off of 10. I'm like, man, this is better than cars. So me, I was always like, my mom kind of put it inside of me, like, to be a caring, like generous person. So it's like, honestly, I started seeing, I was like, you know what? I need to start teaching people how to do it. If it's not a lot of people doing it, I can teach people how to do it. Everybody can make money. I can make money. They can work for me, or they can open their own shop up, do whatever. So I started teaching people how to do it. It was just like me. With my mind, it was like, man, I don't even feel right not teaching people how to do it. Like at that time, I was just like, you know what? Start teaching people. So I taught a bunch of people for free at the beginning. But then I was like, you know what? I could actually probably like start a school or class. And that's kind of how that went.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal right there. And that's exactly what we talked about. And that's what we want to highlight here. It's not just, you having the skills, it's you teaching others, right? That servitude attitude. You acquire a new skill. You want to show someone else, because you have not made it, and you don't deserve to wear the title leader until you show someone else how to do exactly what you're doing, right? I always say that clarity is if you don't have clarity, right, you have to have clarity. So you want to show other people exactly what it is that you're doing. And if you can't show them what you're doing, like, right?
Honestly, I get like a better, I get the best feeling in life is teaching somebody something, or like somebody that was doubting themselves, or somebody that was kind of like in a bad space in life, and like pulling them out of that space. Like that's the best thing ever for me. So that's why I love teaching. You know what I'm saying? So like, I can make more money just like me staying in like my zone, to like me fixing cars, painting cars, doing tent. If I'm making, let's say $1,500 a day doing tent on my own, and then I do a class where, I might have 4 students and it might take us a week, So that's like, I might charge $1,000. So that's me making $4,000 that week versus me making $7,500. If I wasn't doing the class, I don't think about the money. I just kind of think about me passing that gift along to somebody else, changing their life. And like,
the intangibles is far more valuable than the actual tangibles.
Yeah, my students, they, oh my God, they praise me. Yeah, they just like, man, you changed my life. Like, nobody did this. Like, they can't find anybody. You know, people have to go all the way to California, or like, I went to Maryland a lot because nobody here wanted to teach people. So I stepped in that spot and was like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll pass it to the youth, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I like training the youth.
To the youth.
Yeah, I like training the youth. Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your service and being, you know, just not selfish. Right? So that's so important. That's going to take you even further now. Right? I could definitely see it, you know, like cousin was talking about, I see something great in you. Well, I do too, right? Even at this level too. So for that, where and how can people reach out to you if they want to get, if they want to purchase a car? And you mentioned that you rent cars also. If they want to get their car tinted, how do they do that?
On Instagram, it'll be Wynners Auto.
Okay.
I really don't have Facebook. Is like kind of like a family thing. So I'm Gregory Wynn on there, but it's really Instagram. So Instagram Wynners Auto, and then for window tint is Wynners Window Tint. So,
yeah. All right. Well, you all heard it here. Greg Wynn, Wynners Auto Plus. Super excited, so proud of my brother. I am so happy to call him my brother. So excited about that. So this has been another awesome and amazing VIP with Nikki B, where we see the victory in people, but most importantly, we want you to see the victory in yourself. And stay tuned for another awesome and amazing victorious conversation.